Hello, Mordimers here and welcome to the new series on my channel, and this is the chess for beginners. So if you are complete beginner, this is the place for you. If you are a little bit more advanced, this is the place for you. And maybe even if you are a little bit more than little advanced, maybe this is also for you, as a lot of advanced players actually miss the basics. They already play decent games, however they miss the basics and something is stopping them from advancing to the higher level. So maybe this is also for you. So without further ado, let's see what I prepare for the lesson number one. Lesson number one is the chessboard, the geometry of the chessboard, and some of the exercises how to recognize the squares, also how to set up the pieces on the chessboard. So we have the chessboard 64 squares. 8 times 8 is of course 64. We have the dark squares. We have also the light squares in the chessboard behind me. The dark squares are represented by the brown color and the light square by the beige color. However, it's also possible to be, for example, white and green and other colors. As you see here in the internet, we can actually choose whatever artistic vision we want. I have white squares and the blue squares. Now we have about the chess geometry and terminology. We have a lot of lines. First, I would like to tell you about the coordinates. So you see these numbers and the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 8. These are actually the lines where some of the pieces can follow. So this is A file, this is B file, C file, D file, and so on. And we also have the ranks. So first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank, and until 8th rank. We also have something very unique as diagonal, and this is the longest diagonal. There are also some shorter diagonals. There is even a little diagonal, like 2 squares diagonal only. All of these are diagonals for some of the pieces as well. So this is why this is important. You have to know the terminology. That's the first thing. Now I would like to just show you that, for example, D file and the fourth rank can give us on the cross here D4 square. So if we want, for example, move some of the piece to D4, then you always know that we're gonna go to D4. Whatever the square, starting square of the piece is, it's gonna, head to D4. So that's important. Now, first exercise I would like to introduce to you is on liches. So here we go. And first is note from liches. Knowing the chessboard coordinates is a very important chess skill. Most chess courses and exercises use the algebraic notation extensively. It makes it easier to talk to your chess friends since you both understand the language of chess. You can analyze a game more effectively if you can quickly recognize coordinates. Now, we have 30 seconds and we can actually point which square is which square. And as you already see, we don't have the letters, we don't have numbers, so we just have to know which square is which square. And I think this is the good exercise for every level. You can check and tell me your score in the comment section. I'm very interested if I'm so slow or maybe it's not so bad. So let's start. We have D5, we have H1, we have E6, C7, E1, G3, D8, A6, we have F2, H6, C7, B1, C3, F6, D3, G5, B3, E6, D2, E7, we have B6, A3, F4, C2, G1, B5, A2, C3, D8, C2, E4, H6, and that's 32. As you already see, some of the squares are much easier for me, some I have to think for a bit, so definitely it's something to improve and try. Maybe you can pause the video, open liches and try what the score you can get the first time and what the score, for example, after trying this 10 times and so on. So this is very important if you want to, for example, imagine the chessboard, then it's always. So this is one exercise. Another exercise is knowing the color of the squares. We don't have that online. However, you can imagine some of the squares and you should always know. For example, H1 is the light square. So this is always the rule. H1 has to be light square, A1 has to be always dark square, and so on. So you have to imagine, you can think for a while, and what color. So for example, if I tell you C4, you should immediately know that this is the light square. Why? You can memorize the chessboard, but you also, if you analyze, you know sometimes the bishop from F1, which is the light square, goes to C4. So you also know that F1 A6 diagonal is the light square diagonal. So this is also good exercise. As you know already, if you see, for example, if you watch Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, any grandmaster, in the interview, they sometimes say the lines. So for example, they just say, okay, knight f7, king f7, then I go d4, and so on. And they already memorize all the squares and all the colors. So it's very, very easy for them. They don't need to watch at the chessboard. And on every level, it's actually very, very useful. Believe me or not, but even if you are lower than 2000, sometimes if you just walk, you can think about the chess and you can get the new idea. So this is very, very important exercise. One, know the squares. Second, know the color of the squares. Now, how to practice that? If you have, some friends, you can try to compete with each other. If you are alone, you just write, the names of the squares, and then you just memorize, try to think about the chessboard and answer, and then check later if you were correct or not. So this is another, and one more exercise. You can think about diagonals. They are used very often. So if it's light square diagonal or dark square diagonal. Now, I would like to tell you how to set up the chessboard. So this is very, very important. We always set up the chessboard where the light square is on our right hand. This is my right hand. So H1 is the light square always, okay? You cannot set up, in another direction, another position where you have dark square. That is wrong. So this is the first rule. And the second rule is the white pieces go always on the first and second rank. And of course, black pieces go on the 7th and 8th rank respectively. Now, how to set up the pieces? We set up the pawns on the second rank, and black pawns on the 7th rank. So that's the first, and then we start from the rooks. So rooks go to the corner, then we have the knights. Then we have the bishops, and now the most complicated things in setting up is the queen and the king. Now, how to set them up? The rule is very simple. White queen always go on the white square. Dark queen goes always on the dark square. So this is very, very simple. And of course, the king goes to the last square. And if you memorize the numbers easier, then remember that the queen always goes on the D file. So D1 and D8. This is the squares for the queen, and for the king E1 and E8. And this is also why we have the queen side. So this is the queen side, and this is the king side. Okay, so first four files A, B, C, D are called also the queen side. So if we move some pieces on the queen side, you will always know that it's going to the queen side, and the same with the king side. And yeah, I think that's all for today. In the next video, I'm gonna show you already how to checkmate your opponent with the king and the rook. So we're gonna know how the first two pieces move And this is from some of the books which I also teach my kids, and it works pretty well, as they doing pretty well, even they don't like chess. However, when they are forced to play, they enjoy that, they doing pretty decent. So I think everything what I just show you works only not only for the kids, but also for the more advanced teenagers and even the adults. So if you like this video, press like. If for some reason you don't like it, press unlike. And if you want to see another videos from this series for beginners, press subscribe, smash the bell button. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.